As we get set for the final race in the V8 touring cars, a much longer distance of 18 laps, and the big question, can somebody stop Jack Smith?
Yeah, I think there's definitely a couple of guys. Anton De Pasquale was, look, he was matching him for pace, but look, he might be able to get a really good start off that grippy side, which is the left-hand side on the grid, and potentially Tyler at Greenbury as well.
On their formation lap right now, 18 laps, and we remarked in that second race this morning that they're going to be competing with a lot of marbles, a lot of soft rubber that's come off from the supercars race of 65 laps. It's just finished, so the racing line and passing opportunities will be much more less in this race.
Yeah, definitely. When you're on the outside there, that's where all the marbles are going to be shifted to. So if you run a little bit wide, it basically almost sucks you off the track where you just got no grip. That's the fact of it. And then when you do rejoin, you've got all this rubber that's stuck to your very hot tyres, and it takes a few laps to get it all off.
What's that like when you get down to a corner knowing you've got it just vibrate through the wheel, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. It's a fair vibration, and obviously you've got not much grip as well. So it just takes a little bit to get used to, and as I said, a few laps you really got to work it to try and get that rubber that's stuck to the tyres. You can see all the track there, all the marbles that have come off.
And that's just the straight. Wait till we get around the corners like turn 4, turn 5. There's a lot of it on the outside line down there as the field of 16 just go through the final stages of getting these cars into position. We saw Josh Smith's car blow up earlier today in that last race. They've done an engine change to the AHS entry for Image Racing down there. We've seen a couple of them this week. A busy, busy weekend for the V8 Touring Car Series. The final time we'll see them on the Virgin Australia bill for the year, but certainly we'll see them again in 2018.
Yeah, sounds great. They always turn it on, and yeah, we've seen some good racing this weekend. I reckon this one's gonna seal it up. Obviously, the last race of the weekend, and I'm sure it'll be a cracker.
So final cars locked into position. Brad Neal and John McCorkindale, one of the heritage class cars of Brad Neal in 55 at the back. Revs rise for this final race, 18 laps around Queensland Raceway. The final race of the Kotang Ipswich Super Sprint for 2017 is underway, and predictably Anton De Pasquale has got a great start from here. Chris Murden has got nowhere at the back of the field though, and De Pasquale has got a massive lead going here into turn number 1.
Well, he was very good in race 2 on cold tyres, so he's going to try and press on here. He goes, right, I've won the start, now I've got to take off a bit. Jack Smith was very consistent in the race in race 2, so although he's in P2, he's got some really good pace at the moment.
Jordan Boys gets up to 3rd place now as they all battle out for positions. One of the pole performance cars going down the inside. That's Michael Caine on Josh Smith. On the hard break down here to turn 3. The outside goes Smith. He's not really letting that engine settle in, is he?
No, not at all.
And Smith will follow off down there. So that's just cold tyres, not been up to temperature, catching a few of these guys out on the first lap.
McCorkindale's working his way through at the moment as well. Obviously, he's had that engine change early in the weekend. These guys are playing for keeps there.
Look at Smith go.
They've got all revved up. They've just watched the supercar race. They're like, right, now it's our turn.
They've driven half the race watching the last one. On board with Heck as Smith gets sideways on the exit of turn 5 and on the brace now for turn number 6. So De Pasquale, that big lead he had at the start, has come back to him. Great battle pack here between Anderson and Boys. Seaton also in that too. There's Smith ahead of Michael Caine. Jump on board with Jason Heck and the JCH Electrical Falcon.
I see the changes on some of the cars. In Heck's car, he's actually got the dashboard in the steering wheel. So different generations now, they went to it as a proper alternative dash in some of the other cars. So over time, they all change in their position, and it's evolved back to your steering wheel again.
What is the differences there? I mean, you'd be looking at that, it'd be getting distorted while you're moving that wheel, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it does, but visually what they've done now is had a little mini dash there in the modern supercars, and it's right up there in front of you and not mounted to the wheel.
Keep an eye on car 7 spinning out. It's Jordan Boys who's split the field. We were watching Jim Policina's car, so I thought that might have been a tyre, but looks something a bit more sinister from the number 7 car as Boys drops himself now outside the top 5 to the back of the field behind Nandy Kiss.
You always hold your breath when these guys have a spin, because they have a spin and then they roll backwards, and it's very unpredictable. You don't know where the car's going to end up. Obviously, they're rolling, so sometimes in that situation, you've got to get straight on the brake and stop so everyone can get around you.
It's always better to keep the car moving though, right?
Well, in some cases, you want to make sure you're getting out of the way. If you're not, you've got to stop and let everyone go around you.
On board with Heck. He'd be a bit nervous right now, not knowing what sort of smoke's coming out the back of the ex-Tasman Motorsport sprint gas car from back in the late 2000s at Jim Policina, regular in the V8 Touring Car Series.
and it won't be pleasant for him. Like, there's nothing worse than following a car that's fuming or blowing smoke like that. That'd be going straight in the cabin, and definitely not too pleasurable, that's for sure.
Oh, more dramas here for Aaron Seaton as well. The front left guard's starting to peel away. You just know they'll be watching that. He'll be hearing that flapping away on the left-hand side. Take a look at the replay at the start. Right-hand side, Di Pasquale on the better side of the racetrack. Gets a demon start, although Jack Smith got too much wheel spin. That's the first time we've seen him made a bit of a bob start there from SCT Logistics Holden.
Yeah, it's very easy to do. You know, some of the cars have that line lock system. If you stay on and you don't release the button early enough, it's basically you're doing a burnout on the line.
It's cool, but not very effective at the start of the race.
Right.
This was from Tyler Greenberry's number 38 Designer Homes entry. That was Jordan Boys. Almost contact.
Now, Tyler, he just braked early there, and yeah, I think he got caught napping, but he'll be kicking himself if he watches that on board again. But you know, he's already fought back into third, so he's going to have his eyes forward on Jack Smith and Anton Di Pasquale ahead.
Meantime, Josh Smith was lucky to pull that car back on the circuit. Here's the replay from Jason Heck. While this has been going on, Jim Policina has brought his Holden into pit lane. There's Heck on there. Smith skating his way rallycross style on the exit of turn 3. And they're locking up going in. That's Jordan Boys going around. See how the guard peeled away from car 30 of Aaron Seaton, though. Here's Jason Heck. He's quick on the downshift.
Yeah, he is. Maybe just on the edge of too quick, maybe. Oh, that was close.
You and I stood back in the TV screen for a moment. And that was allowing Policina. That was before the smoke really got serious. That car's come back into the pits. Meantime, here's your leading two guys, and Jack Smith is the faster of the two at the moment. It's less than half a second on lap 4 of 18, a 5-lap longer distance than what we've had all weekend in the V8 touring cars. And who's going to have the better tyre life when it gets to the end? And looks like it's game, set and match for car number 7, Cameron Vanendungen on the scene down there. We'll do an update with him very, very soon as we go back to the leading cars.
Well, the positions are reversed, of course, so now Jack Smith's like, right, now I'm going to put you under pressure, mate. And from here, the aim is for him to obviously get past, of course, but in that position, he's really trying to almost get him in his mirrors. So if Anton looks up, gets distracted, let's say, and could force him wide on one of the corners. Very easy pass when the guy makes a mistake in front.
Intimidation will be high in the next lap or two. Round turn 3 they go. Sun becoming an issue later in the race here too, as we saw yesterday. Down to turn number 4. They pulled away now, about a second from Tyler Greenberry. Tom Randall back behind the wheel of car number 9. Smooth weekend, easing his way into the V8 Touring Car Series. He landed from Austria just on Tuesday with an overseas campaign.
Just an update for you guys, Jim Policina. It was actually a rear gearbox seal leaking oil out onto the exhaust. He's now pulled out of the car, out of the race.
Yeah, look, it is obviously for Heck that was following him. That would have been very, very unpleasant, that gearbox oil. Obviously, the smoke bellowing out, and he couldn't keep going because if it's leaking that badly, it's going to run out of oil and destroy the gearbox.
Yeah, better to park it up, save it for the next round. And we just saw Tyler Greenberry run wide at turn number 6. Car doesn't look right for the conditions here. Ditto that for a couple of other cars in the field. This is the replay from onboard the 38. Just understeered, didn't it?
Yeah, it looked like, I don't know whether it could have been that oil that was from Policina's car. Potentially that could have been it, because he did skid quite wide there on that corner. So to give you an idea, they're about a second off the pace that they were this morning. So track conditions aren't as good, and obviously their tyre quality being the last race of the weekend, they've had to keep saving the tyres and sort of save them for this last race.
1/3 race distance completed already. 18 laps around Queensland Raceway today. They said Randall back in 4th position. Anderson watching now to turn number 4 is 5th. Then Aaron Seaton. So the guard's under control now on car number 30. Josh Smith is next. Michael Caine, McCorkindale, and Smurden, after that bad start, finds himself now in position 10. As now it's much closer between 1st and 2nd.
Well, Jack Smith at the moment, he's just starting to creep forward. He's a couple of tenths a lap quicker at the moment. So he's really starting to apply the pressure, and a good time in the race. Obviously a longer race than this morning, so 18 laps, and the tyres are going to be absolutely fried at the end of this.
So could bring the likes of Greenberry and Thomas Randall into the mix. They're sitting back there in 3rd and 4th, and some 2nd off the pace at the moment. These guys ahead.
Well, Greenbury at the moment is sort of matching the pace of the guys ahead. So if they start dicing, it's going to start and become a three-way battle.
Anton Di Pasquale returned to Australia last season for the Paul Morris Motorsport team after winning the Australian Formula Ford Championship back in 2013. And here's Smith sliding his way. There's absolutely nil grip out there. Just making sure this car will go off onto the other side of those curbs. You can see how sharp they are, these sawtooth curbs. The tyres aren't really touching it, but scooping up plenty of gravel aboard that Image racing car.
It's so easy to damage a tyre, and the back of those curbs, obviously the bigger the hole on the other side of it, the more of a whack that tyre gets on the inside. So I wouldn't be surprised if I do see a flat tyre during this race if anyone goes off.
Now, I tend to agree. Greenbury just pulling these guys in, a couple of tenths on the last sector. Now finds himself about 1.5 seconds behind the group. Plenty of time on his side. Back on board now with Jason Heck, who's behind Boys and Smurden, who goes wide on the exit. 10th, 11th and 12th, the battle pack here. Ex-FPR Falcon from some 10 years ago. Jason Heck, who returned to the racing scene 12 months ago after his big incident. And Boys down the inside of Smurden. Race winner earlier this year. One of the young guys have come out of Formula Ford.
Yeah, he's recovering well after that spin and making some inroads here on the field.
We talk about Toowoomba being a very popular part for race drivers. You hear the word Albury a lot as well these days with drivers coming from that part of the world.
Yeah, for sure. There's obviously a very good main series supercar team there, but in BJR. But yeah, some good drivers coming out of Albury. We won't forget Wodonga either.
Yes. Been a while since I've been to that part of the world. Been from the West Coast. Down to the final turn, and now Smith turns up the heat on the back of Anton Di Pasquale in his Jersey Mike Subs Falcon for Paul Morris Motorsport. Doing the solo thing this weekend. Oh, the dudes away racing stadium trucks over in China.
Greenbury's catching these pair.
Yeah.
I hope he joins the battle. They start getting a little bit ragged and dicing. Greenbury will be right on them.
He's just set the fastest lap of the race too, a 1:12.54, a 10th quicker than Jack Smith, and 2/10 quicker than Anton Di Pasquale. The Edge Designer Homes car in the background of this, and time is on his side as we're halfway home in race 3 of the V8 touring cars. On board now with Tyler Greenbury on the exit, driving for Eggleston Motorsport this year. It's a plum drive, it's a handy car, this one. It's had some success over the years.
Yeah, anything that you can get your hands on that's built by Triple Eight is definitely going to be a handy car to be in any championship, whether it's the Super 2 Series or obviously in the V8 Touring Car Championship.
As Douglas drove this car last year, clean swept around at this venue. Former Dunlop Super 2 Series champion back in the day. On the exit, the car I was talking about too.
Now, I just noticed he made a little mistake into that last corner, so whether that's cost him any time. He's still on the pace, so he's just slowly creeping forward at the moment.
So everybody's set onto a rhythm here. Look at some of the split times further back in the field. As Thomas Randall is about 6 seconds away from Greenbury, so he's losing touch. And I guess just getting familiar, because this is a total different animal to what he's driving overseas right now in the LMP racing series.
Well, it is, and you couldn't get, you know, two cars that are so opposite. LMP3, definitely not as much power, but a lot more aerodynamic. So a lot of aero, and something like this, he'd have to bring it back a little bit and get used to being very smooth on the throttle.
And it comes with time, right?
Ah, for sure. You know, he's doing a great job to be, you know, in the top 4, top 5 for this weekend.
McCorkindale.
Oh, can he pull it up? McCorkindale.
Only just. He'll lose the position if he gets the drive out of here. He might be able to set himself up nicely. Look at the power he's got. That Jimmy Stone engine on lease here. He's got plenty of mumbo down to turn number 4.
Absolutely. See, you can actually see they're glowing red, those front rotors when he was coming in there, so they have that chance to cool. But as it gets a bit darker, you can really see those front rotors getting nice and hot.
Not a good sign 11 laps in, though. He's got to get 7 more laps out of this. Back to the leading group. It's Greenbury now. 112, 113 once. They've dropped out of the 112 range. They've lost about 2 or 3 tenths. All 3 cars of these guys down that previous lap. So coming up to Bradley Neal in the ex-Trunky Parsons VR Holden, running in the Heritage class, the sole Heritage class car here. Hope to see a few more of the remaining rounds of this year's V8 Touring Car Series. Last year we had at least 3 or 4 of them here in the field.
He's just got to make sure he doesn't impede on these guys. They're having a good race at the moment.
Keeps it to the left-hand side and lets them continue on.
And hopefully he looks in the mirror and sees Tyler Greenbury coming as well. So it'd be a shame to see him go into this turn 4 and then Tyler be caught behind him.
So Jack Smith, closer than ever now. It's less than 3/10. The way down to turn number 6. No point going too early in this.
No, there's obviously a few laps to go on this one, but the tyres are going to be degrading. So if anything, he has to sort of make the move now before he starts losing that drive off the turn.
1:12.86, 1:12.7 this time. Quicker was Jack Smith. 1:12.73 Tyler Greenbury, but he's still 1.8 seconds away from the front. And time starting to run away. 12 of 18 here at Queensland Raceway. Jack Smith getting better and better behind the wheel. 4 race wins to his name this year. The V8 Touring Car Series, also doing double duties in the Dunlop Super 2 Series for Brad Jones Racing. Identical livery, but in a much newer spec car.
A lot of inside front locking you see on Tyler Greenbury's car. These guys have been the class of the field for the whole weekend. So yeah, or IFL as it's known. You see that on a lot of drivers when you fill out your debrief sheet. You'll see IFL written down a lot, and it's only because we're lazy. We just write, you know, US for understeer or oversteer. It's just because we're lazy. Yep.
Keep it short. Here he comes, right on the back now, and pushes that FG Falcon along. Respective teams look on. Still they can't complete another lap. 5 laps to go as they sweep on by into turn number 1. Here comes Tyler Greenbury, still back in 3rd position.
Andy Jones on screen.
He's combed his hair since he was in the commentary box earlier today too. Watching Jack Smith help us out with commentary in our support categories today. Over the weekend of the Kotite Ipswich Super Sprint.
Well, Andy's obviously a busy boy at BJR because they're obviously running Jack Smith's car. They're running cars in the Super 2 Series.
Here he comes.
Oh, he's probably on the radio. Get in there. And he's made a stick, so good move. Just shut the door a little bit there and you got it done.
Very good pass by Jack Smith and defends it straight away. For a guy with a young head, he's driving very well here today. And now the real test will come with Anton De Pasquale. Similar ages, but much more experience for the man in car 67.
Absolutely, but you know, Jack Smith, what a mature drive and a good weekend he's put together as well. Obviously, it started from practice and qualifying. He's had a good car and he's driven very well, and that was a nice clean pass.
Off the final turn now. We'll see if he'll start disappearing away from De Pasquale here. He was quicker to the first sector on that last lap. He goes 1:12.53, sets the fastest lap of the race, even with that pass.
Yeah, the car's coming to him now. It's all coming on, and I think De Pasquale's tyres are just starting to go off at the moment.
Round through turn 2 and onto the back straight they go. Tyler Greenbury, can he pull in Anton De Pasquale? As he heads down the back straight, let's go for a full lap around here.
And he's just adjusted the front end roll bar there. So whether that's, we were talking about that IFL problem where it was the inside front locking, maybe he's just trying to soften off that front bar to fix that so it's not so rigid in the front. Nice onboard shot. You can see the sequential shift where he go down 3 gears, back to 2nd gear. He turns it in and nice and smooth back to the throttle. See there, a little short shift to 3rd and up to 4th gear on exit.
Jason Heck's gone around. We're doing that onboard laps and the Source Motivations entry to the back of the field. Much busier these days behind the wheel of a touring car or a supercar. It's just been gear changes and turn corners, and now you're playing with brake bias and front and rear anti-roll bars.
Yeah, it's just the sport's gone to that level where you're tuning the car for corners. I'm sure the engineers, if the rules allowed, they'd be tuning the car on the fly for us, and it'd be a lot easier as a driver, of course, but that's part of it, you know. If you can tune the car, and that's where these little improvements come in, and that's where the drivers can tune the car on the run.
You see on board from Jason Heck through the right-hander. That's Chris Smurden ahead.
Oh, we didn't commit to too much corrective lock there, so yeah, it's just a just the rear of the car, just stepping out. He was saying, holy heck, at that stage.
Glad you said that. I wasn't playing any part of that
hey,
one.
I'm a dad. That's a classic dad joke.
Yes, it is. Got back onto the track, though.
My kids would still be laughing at that. they would be by.
I'm trying to hold it in, trust me. Down to the last turn is Jack Smith. Complete his 16th lap.
At least someone finds me.
Oh, man. That's 2 gags you've dropped the touring car race this year. Down they come into turn number 1. There's Smith, Di Pasquale, and Tyler Greenberry's down the inside. Goes Nandy Kiss. Just got the right to drive Holden. Pulled up in time on the inside of Chris Delsma.
Yeah, it's a good move. Locked up, but released that brake that little bit, got it turned and no contact, which was a great move. He's just getting more and more seat time at the moment, trying to get familiar with, obviously, back into a V8 touring car. Spent time in utes and different cars, as we see Seaton's car. That left-hand front guard doesn't look good, does it?
It's been holding on now. That happened early in the race. Of course, these are the older style metal guards that these cars are running. Just hanging on with 3 laps to go.
It's never good when the camera starts to zone in on it. The officials have a look and they go, right, what are we going to do here?
Let's send them on the wall going, can't you follow someone else? There's 15 other cars out there.
Get off the car.
Josh Smith goes down the inside while that was happening. The AHS entry after that engine change where let go right on the finish line of the last race. If you're going to have a drama, better to be at the end of the race rather than the start.
He's very lucky there. I'm sure he would have thanked his lucky stars. But, and also the fact that to have a spare engine to have that as well. So I'm sure his crew was working very hard to get that in. They've had a bit of time, but still it's not an easy thing. The supercar guys can do it in about 40 minutes, the main series guys, but there's obviously a lot of crew to do that.
Yeah, these guys wouldn't be too experienced with that. As Jack Smith is shutting this race down with 2 to go. It'll be 1 lap to go next time by. 1:12.47. Set another fast lap last time by. It's out to 2 seconds between he and Anton Di Pasquale. He's setting sail for home here to pick up a clean sweep.
He's definitely setting the mark in this championship at the moment. He's the formed car, the formed driver. And look, the engineers have obviously got on to tune the car on a different tyre. Of course, these supercars are used to the Dunlop rubber and they're on a different tyre, of course, being a Kumo. And they have to tune the car around that as well. And this car is definitely a step above the rest, and he's driving it very well.
Certainly well suited to Queensland Raceway. So round he comes to start the final lap of the weekend here at Ipswich. Cap's inched out to 2.2 seconds now, and he's 0.4 of a second quicker than the guys behind, and in control on this, the last lap. He'll be in action at Sydney for the Dunlop Super 2 Series round, but they return to the Eastern Creek venue for the first time in 10 years in August.
These guys, though, the top 3 class of the field, they've absolutely scooted away from the rest of the field. And at the moment, they're lapping about over a second faster. So definitely these top 3 are the goods at the moment.
It was expected that Anton Di Pasquale would be competitive straight away. Then the car he spent 12 months in last year. Jack Smith, who joined the championship at the start of the year. There was a bunch of rookies who joined the series and burst through for some race wins. We didn't pick that at the start of the year, but very refreshing to see nonetheless. Jack Smith heads down towards the final turn. A good stint in Formula 4 in the GT Trophy Series for Mark Cars Australia in 2016. Progresses up into a supercar, and today he'll pick up the clean sweep, the first one of the season for Brad Jones Racing here at Queensland. Nice drive to Jack Smith. Pole position. It's nothing but green boxes for the whole weekend. Anton Di Pasquale will finish second in the race and overall for the weekend. Tyler Greenberry holds down third. Tom Randall in his debut will finish in 4th position overall for the weekend, ahead of Anderson, Josh Smith, Seaton, McCorkindale, Jordan Boys, and Michael Caine. He's one to keep an eye on, isn't he?
Absolutely.
2 seconds ahead of Anton Di Pasquale, and the fastest lap of the race in all 3 as well. Di Pasquale back in second, Tyler Greenberry, Randall, Anderson, back to Michael Caine in 10th spot. Jordan Boy's out there spin. He was in the 5 there for a bit. Smurden from the back. Heck, Kiss back to Jim Policina. Thanks to David Russell. We'll see him down in Sydney for the next round. Jess, can't wait to get down there for the Red Rooster Sydney Super Sprint.